So like Rosie said, I am going to cover records today. And what we're going to talk about a few different things. I know listed on the agenda, I was going to be talking about the Scrapie Eradication Program, and I'll cover that a little bit. All right, so the National Scrapie Eradication Program is a program for sheep and goats to try and do just that, to eradicate scrapie. These are some resources available. Specifically, some of these are goat, but there are a lot of sheep resources available as well from the American sheep industry. So any questions on scrapie or the eradication program, we're happy to answer them. And we can also provide a lot of information about that. So one of the purposes of discussing record keeping and the Scrapie Eradication Program is we're going to talk about disease traceability. And one of the ways to trace disease occurrence or animals that might be carrying disease is through individual animal identification. In this case, we're going to be talking mostly about electronic ID tags. Sometimes they're called RFID tags, radio frequency ID tags. And we see them in cattle. They have them for sheep and goats. I'm sure they have them for pigs and lots of species. And these are tags that have numbers on them that are unique to each animal. And they also can be read with an electronic ID tag reader and then data about the animal. So talking about record keeping, some of the record keeping that you might keep track of is the animal origin. So if you bring an animal onto your property from somewhere else, you can enter that in according to the ID tag. You can enter in where it came from. You can enter in health history, including vaccinations. If it went places, like if you have show animals, you can record where they went, so you can keep track of what they may have been exposed to. One of the things that electronic ID tags have a lot of potential for is helping a farmer or a rancher meet their production goals for their herd or flock. And so one of the things that I've heard talked about with this is that some people are really happy with where their flock is or their herd, and they're not looking to make improvements, and others see opportunity in changing some of the genetics in their herd or flock. And so EIDs are one really good way to meet those production goals. They can help with healthy livestock. They can help improve reproductive soundness, or just like a lamb crop or the kid crop. They can improve production performance on a number of different traits. And so one of the really helpful things is, a farmer can make their goals for what they want to see their flock or herd do, what sort of changes they want to see. And then they can implement EIDs, and they can figure out what their baseline is. They can figure out where they're starting, and then they can have a better direction of where they want to go. And sort of the concept here, the key concept behind the whole thing is by managing individual animals, we can actually see whole flock or whole herd improvement. We can see improvement in the whole by studying the individuals. So we talked a little bit earlier about the data that can be collected, but specifically one of the things that can go with the EID is any tattoos. You can do the date of birth, so then you can track things like weaning weight, birth weights, things like that. Of course, we usually put in sex and breed, especially for a purebred operation or something where there's some very purposeful crossbreeding. Pedigree, again, that's a purebred operation, or maybe a show operation. Kind of goes with parentage there. Other things that we can record on that are any important events, as far as like treatment records for parasites, or if you had to use antibiotics. If someone's tracking Fibonacci scores, You can keep track of that with the EIDs. You can keep track of reproductive performance as far as, making sure every animal gets pregnant and has a baby every year, hopefully two, or maybe more, depending on goats or sheep, right? And then in dairy animals, we can track milk production, daily milk weights, and time to milk, and those sorts of things. This does for us is it creates the opportunity for informed decision making. And so when we have all this information, all this data, as we call it, which is just data, is just information that we've collected in a very targeted way to try and answer some questions. Then we can look at our production goals. Maybe a goal is that, we want to see some improved herd or flock health. Maybe there's been some health issues and we're trying to figure out the sources and somehow remove those sources from the herd or from the flock. Maybe there's just, we want to improve the mothering ability of some of the females. Maybe someone wants to increase their lamb crop or their kid crop, and then you can start to track fecundity, how many lambs or kids each female has. And what this does is it helps with culling decisions. All this production data, including the reproduction and the health events, it helps identify the bottom 10 to 15% of the herd. And then from there, decisions can be made to which members of the herd or flock need to go in order to start to meet these production goals. And so one real life example is I was talking to a producer who was from Montana, actually, and they just started using EIDs in their commercial targhee flock. And what they found was they had these really big, what they called fancy ewes. So they were big and they were just pretty and they looked really nice. But these big ewes were eating a lot and they were producing small lambs. And so what looked like a ewe that was going to be a really good part of the flock was just not a good producer. So if they hadn't been using EIDs, they wouldn't have known. So as far as gathering the data, I talked about the reader, the EID reader or the RFID reader. And what they do is there's just a couple of different options here on the screen. The one in orange is the Gallagher reader. And the one in the middle is the Shearwell reader. And you can see that they both have like a keypad where you can actually then go in and enter the data that you're interested in collecting. And the one in the upper right is actually a barcode reader. So in some cases, there are barcodes associated with certain tissue samples that might be collected for genetic testing, or maybe there's some blood or something like that. And so that's what that would be used for. So with these, you really get the ability to collect data in real time in the field when you're looking at the animal. And then once you do that, then you take it back to your computer and you can plug it in using whatever software comes with that particular reader. And you can look at the data and you can begin to analyze it. You can look and see, okay, what's the flock doing? And I talked about identifying the bottom 10 to 15%. And then you can go in and you can flag those animals, and you know exactly which animals are at the bottom 10 to 15% that you're looking at potentially culling, because you have individual animal ID for all of those. And so you can really keep track of things that way. Now, one thing I wanted to mention was this CSV or an Excel spreadsheet. The CSV, for those who aren't familiar with Excel, stands for comma separated value. And that's what a lot of these programs are going to output. And then there is a fairly straightforward process for getting it into Excel to where it looks sort of like we're used to seeing, like this spreadsheet, where they're all in columns. And then from there, for those who have experience in Excel and kind of look through it, you can look at the spreadsheet and you can start to sort. If you want to identify all the ewes who had singles and you've got that data in there, you can sort the whole spreadsheet and find out all the ewes who had singles. And you can add layers on there. So you want to find out maybe all the ewes who had singles and also had to be treated for some health issue. And you can sort that and then identify those ewes that just aren't meeting your goals, and maybe they're gonna have to go to town. So that's pretty much all I had. Pretty quick review of some of the potential uses of electronic ID tags.